Welcome! My name is Sharon and this is Trio.of.Witches Tarot. And this is a side-by-side unfair deck comparison of the Tarot by Alexander Danilofg 2012 and the Tarot by Alexander Danilofg 2022. And this just has 4 on it because that's the 4th edition. And this is the Orient Tarot. So this one has no name per se. So the boxes are identical. They're tuck boxes, not, anything special. And I think we're zoomed in enough. No, we're gonna zoom in more. And the cardstock is exactly the same. And those are the backs. Should have showed the backs. So they're both reversible. This one feels a little bit thicker, so this might be like 330. This might be like 320. Yeah, there's a slight difference in the thickness of the cards. The High Priestess. So this is very different. We don't have again, we have a crescent moon here, no moon here. We both have pomegranates. She has a scroll, she has a book. Love the colors in this. Well, so far I love everything about it, but really I'm drawn to these colors. And the Hierophant. We got 2 people down here though with the keys, where we just have the keys here. And what looks like maybe an emperor's face. I never noticed that before. Funny when you do this, the things you notice. And the Lovers. This one doesn't have an angel in it. Well, there's the angel. I like how that, I don't think I've ever noticed that. His little bum's over here and he's over here. And it's a serpent. And unless this is supposed to be a serpent. So we have the trees and the angel. So we got all this stuff. I really love this Chariot card. It's one of my all-time favorite Chariot cards. Justice. So, okay, so here it is. So that was Strength. I don't know what I did. We got it. I'm sure I'll do some editing there. The Hermit. I really like this Hermit. And the Wheel. Like this one. It's not always my favorite card. It's kind of boring sometimes. I mean, the meaning's great, but it's just kind of, and can be boring, but this is cool. He's got the serpent down here. So these are both like at the top of my wheel cards. And so now Strength does not go there, but Justice does. And are there scales in this one? Oh, no, is that supposed to be scales here? I don't know, if you see scales in this Justice, let me know, because I'm not seeing it. And the Hanged Man, very similar. This guy looks much more peaceful, even though he's got the coins here, so it's more of that, that harken back to the traitor. This one, kind of, so just made me have like a horrified look on his face. Death. These are both awesome Death cards. Love this purple phoenix that Death is riding. I love that the blades are curved in this version, more like, what is it, scimitars? Where they're curved like that. And Temperance. And the Devil. These are awesome. Tower. Star. Wow, I really like that. I love both of these decks so much. The Moon. Yeah, there's like, love this sun. Like if this sun was on this card, that would be it. The mashup of the two. Mash them up. This one's cool. This one's cool. world. Okay, so the Ace of Wands. So neither of these come with a guidebook, but they are clearly RWS based. It would be very interesting to have some insight into his art choices in some of them. These are, you know, really, really similar. Instead of a castle in the background, though, we have mountains and this archway there. That's really cool. So this is almost like what Alexander the Great or something it's supposed to be. This is supposed to be Genghis Khan, maybe? I'd love to know, you know, those would be the cool little details to know. You know, is this Samson? And who is this guy, you know, based on? Those are super similar. Eight of Wands can be pretty boring. I know Meredith at Oasis Spiritual Empowerment is disappointed by the Three of Swords often. I'm disappointed by this card often. This guy is just like so battle weary. This guy looks tired, but he's just like taking a rest. And this poor guy, what the heck, might as well be dragging across somewhere. And so it's a little more clear in this deck, yes, because we have the Prince of Wands here. Some of these, it's hard. You really have to look for the symbolism in it to know that this is a Prince of Wands, because it's up here on the banner. But you don't know that it's the Prince or the Page. Page is what I meant. Page. I'm saying Prince, I mean Page. And so it's the Wand, and so you just have to learn that in this deck, that's what the Knights look like. Here you get that. And then you have this other thing here. What is that, I wonder? We wants to know. Alexander, we want some sort of a guide. So the queens are easier, right? And the kings, not so bad. But, you know, it's a little hard on this one. There's the wands right there. And do we just have a K for the... Okay, so it's a lowercase k and an uppercase K. Okay, so the ace. Wow, I really like that. I love all these winged creatures on the aces and the colors of this deck. I like that these people are in the cups. I like that the people in this deck look like puppets. You know, they got the pins in their arms. But I like this. I mean, I'm just love. There is no, is one better than the other. I love both of these. I'd love to hear if you have a preference, what that preference is, and why. This card I like better. I like that she's, for the Seven of Cups, she's like floating in the clouds. This is cool too, though, that every cup is different. And we don't have that symbology that we're used to of each cup has something in it, right? Something different. Each cup has something different in it. I like that this is like some... He's almost like Henry VIII, isn't he? He's got his cool ottoman there. And these guys are fully clothed. And there's a lot of naked people in this one, and no, not so many. I mean, the World card was naked. This is the only one like that comes to mind. So then we have the Page. So we have, you know, we know this is the Page of Cups. Then here we know it's the Page of Cups because it's just a younger looking character, and he's got this cup here, and I had never noticed up here this he's not a myrrh guy, because is he? And then the Knights, and again the Knights, you just have to learn the pattern in the Danilofg tarot, where over here, you know, you get a little more help the Queen. If you know about astrology and like for each court card, that astrological correspondence, none of the majors had that on them. Interested about that. Educate me. And the Kings. So we have the Swords. And these are a couple of my favorite Two of Swords. And Meredith, you should be happy, has the heart, but the swords are actually through his head, which is very cool because, you know, swords are air and thought and the head. Like how he's sleeping on a cloud here. So, sorry for the change in lighting, but that's what happens. Six of Swords. Love his use of color. Very appealing to me. And the 8. So she's tied up. And here she's tied, it looks like she's tied to a couple of the swords. She could get away easily by just kind of, you know, moving her arm up and down and cutting those bonds. She's got a little bit of a harder time of getting away there. And then the 9, and this one is just like, the heck? She gonna stab herself? Feels like some Romeo and Juliet moment. No blood, so that's nice. Don't always need the blood. Sometimes, you know, it works, but don't always need the blood. And our Page of Swords. So how do we know he's the Page of Swords? You know? It makes it hard. Because he has a sword here. Okay, so there, you know, but you really have to look. So it's interesting in, sorry, I'm going back to this. You know, this is more traditional where they're actually riding a horse. And this one, they're all, you know, stationary, just standing, almost like they're posing for a portrait or something. It's the Queen of Swords, and there we have the scales, which is interesting. So it feels, you know, it's definitely tying her back to justice. Is the Queen of Swords, and we have scales here too. So is that something I've missed all this time, that the Queen of Swords and justice are linked to each other? And the King of Swords. We have this guy pouring out water, though. You know, if you looked at this, you'd be, at first you might, is it the King of Cups? He's got a sword there. So then it's, okay, well, it's the King of Swords. Here you know. And then we have the Pentacles. Really like that the aces in this deck are like some winged creature. This one, the aces are underwhelming. I love that this guy, I love this puppety looking guy here. I also like this. And so we have Arabic numerals here and Roman numerals here. And normally you don't have Roman numerals in the minors, which I hadn't really thought about before. And yeah, and so the Fool here was not numbered, and the Fool here is also not numbered. Okay. Because that would kind of imply, right, a Arabic numeral system if we put a 0 on them, wouldn't it? Just noticing stuff. 4 affairs feels very king-like, doesn't it? I'm going to pull those aside. Okay, now we have the poor emaciated people. They don't look like, I mean, they look, we got a little hunchback guy and some guy with a crutch there and a wooden leg, but they don't look as is starved. These guys look like they're lepers sitting out somewhere and starving. And a crumbled mosque. You have a church here that sanctuary they could go in. They don't even have sanctuary. So he has the scales, but this one feels much more like, I don't know, they're both very much beggars, aren't they? This one feels more like church-like, though. And this one, not knowing Asian culture necessarily, maybe it is more like some church character, but these guys are both just chilling. And the 9. Oh, well, that was the 8. Wait, 8. And the 9. And the 10. I like this cat. Yeah, it's a Siamese cat. That's awesome. And the page. So again, so you just have to know that this is the page of coins or pentacles. So it's interesting to me that the pages don't have the astrology on them. Is that a thing? Is there a reason for that? Please tell me. King. I wanted to hold back these 4s because they felt so king-like. Oops. Put him. No, that's the 4. See, it's very confusing. If they didn't have that on there, I would almost think this was the King of Pentacles. And then I'd have to see, oh, he has 4. So anyway, that is the Danilofg Oriental Tarot and the just plain old Danilofg Tarot. I hope you enjoyed that, and I would love to hear comments. Remember to like and subscribe and click on the bell so you know when I have new videos. Take good care of yourself, and bye-bye, Pippin. Well, it's time for another giveaway, and this time it is not a deck I don't jive with, but a deck that it was almost cheaper to buy 2 copies and not pay for shipping than it was to buy 1 copy and pay for shipping. So I thought, well, I'll just pay the little bit extra money. I'll get a 2nd copy and I will put it up in a giveaway. So as you saw, it's called Womanhood Revisited. And if you want to enter the drawing for this deck, put the word womanhood in your comments. And you will be entered, and you can enter in as many times as you want, but only once per video. So if you put in womanhood 5 times on the same video, you still only get 1 entry for that video. This should go a little faster. And so this deck is collage art and colorizations of like old newspaper articles and stuff and other art that he found. That's such a pretty world card. And I saw this on someone's Instagram, I believe it was, and it was the Fool card. And I just fell in love with that Fool card. And then I went out and found, I think I asked that person where they got this, and they told me that they just got it on Etsy. And it is indeed on Etsy. It's a French produced deck, so it came from France, and that's why the shipping was so expensive. And that's why buying the 2nd copy was only a little bit more, because it got free shipping than if I just got 1 and paid for shipping. So you, whoever you are that wins this, are the recipient of a brand new deck that I just decided to buy so I could share it, because I really, really like this deck and I don't think people know about it. And I will be doing a side-by-side comparison of this with, I'm not sure what yet, something, with something. Obviously it's all women, and I guess you could call it, some of it curated art. Not really art, like it's just old pop culture stuff, maybe you could say. I mean, there isn't a whole lot of info on it, and then his Facebook page is in French, and at least I think it is. But I think it's a fun little deck. I'm not in love with backs. I cannot think of almost anything else that would be better than these backs. I don't even understand the backs with the front, but and it's like that more kind of cheapy feeling cardstock, so you could probably bend it and mess it up if you weren't careful with it. So that is Womanhood Revisited, and if you would like to enter to win, enter the word womanhood in your comments below, and always remember to like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.